What's poppin' YouTube? Back again with another video. Today we're going through part 2 of the same draft that we released yesterday. So part 1 was the first round. So I will link that right here. And this is the second round. So if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're putting out content each and every day and want you to be a part of this community. And let's go.
With my next pick, I'm actually gonna take Josh Downs. I like the landing spots to the Patriots. Strangely, even though they're questionable with how they use their receivers, I like Josh Downs' tape. I think he's a good prospect, and I think that's a sneaky good landing spot for Josh Downs. Maybe not the most exciting prospect, but I think he's someone that could have some value.
I love Josh Downs' pre-draft process. I felt like the combine kind of hurt him and his measurables and not being as tall as everyone thought. At the same time, like same kind of thing with JSN. He didn't have a great year this last year, but the year before that, super electric. You got to bank on talent. And Josh Downs is in that same exact conversation. Same exact tier really with me with Zay Flowers. I just think Zay has taken that step, but Josh Downs is my wide receiver 5 in this class easily. And now I'm back up on the clock and I will be drafting Hendon Hooker. He gets second round draft capital. We play in super flex leagues. Where did he land again? Landed with the Seahawks. So he's going to be groomed behind Geno Smith. You got to take that upside shot. I mean, there are some other players that you could potentially consider over him, but like I said, playing super flex, and there's been reports that he could potentially go in the first round. I'm all in on Hendon Hooker as the QB 5 in this draft class, so we'll gladly take him at the 202.
I think it's definitely worth a shot at the 202. It's a super flex league. For my pick at 2-3, I'm actually going to take Bigsby. I believe his landing spot in that draft is the Rams. He's not my running back 4, if I'm being honest. Not my running back 4. I like the Rams landing spot. I know Cam Akers looked a little bit better last year, but the dude literally in the middle of the season last year was like, I will never play again for the Rams. I think they are in the market for a running back, and I like Tank Bigsby well enough. He's in my probably 3rd tier of guys. And so landing spot kind of helps me break the tie and within tiers.
I like Tank. I think it was only a few years ago, everyone was waiting for the 23 class because it had Bijan Robinson take Bigsby, and just because of some crappy measurables and maybe some other guys getting pushed to the board, all of a sudden we're off of Tank Bigsby. I like the pick there, Jordan. Really do. I'm taking Michael Mayer here at the 104. I think, or not 104, 204. Same exact thing that kind of was with, it was always everyone mentioned Bijan Robinson, Tank Bigsby, and Michael Mayer. Those were always the people mentioned about the 2023 class. And the fact that now Dalton Kincaid, I loved him. Helped beat USC to put Ohio State into the playoffs. So I love me some Dalton Kincaid. But Michael Mayer is not necessarily the Kyle Pitts type of generational tight end, but he's an elite level tight end prospect. And being able to get him at the 204, I feel like he's a very low risk type of upside choice with Michael Mayer. And so I'm all in, especially with where did he go in this mock draft? To the Cowboys. Oh yeah. Michael Mayer is better than Dalton Schultz easily. So no reason to think that he can't put up that type of production.
And he's going to be on the field because he's going to be on the field too, because he's great up the tight end.
100%. Who are you picking with your next pick?
I'm going to take the first guy who is not on that list. I'm going to say talent is winning out, and I'm taking Tyjae Spears. I love Tyjae Spears. Watch the tape, not just the USC game, but he proved it in the USC game that he can do it against high level talent. Now, their defense is an elite defense, but they're better than what he was playing most of the year. And man, just watch him play. There's just so much I love about Tyjae Spears.
No, I'm with you. I do love me some Tyjae Spears. I think I am a little bit worried about, his production profile is solid. His metrics are solid. I think I have like 2 running backs I would take over Tyjae Spears, so I probably won't have a ton of Tyjae Spears shares. At this point, we're just like picking hay out of a hay stack, I guess is the phrase we should use.
Yeah, and I don't like really any of the receivers that are left for the most part. A couple that I kind of like, but I like the running backs way more, and I'd rather take shots at running backs because generally those diamonds in the rough in the mid-second and later are normally running backs and not receivers.
So I'm going to follow you up with my running back choice, 206, and I'm going to be taking Achane. However, everyone says it different, but just Achane. The speed wins out. Speed wins out, and going to the Broncos with Javonte Williams potentially slow for the first 6 to 8 games and probably not being fully recovered this year, kind of like Saquon was his first year off his ACL. I'm all aboard. Him and Russ will be cooking. Hopefully he has a bunch of 20, 25-yard runs. And we don't like to bet on this type of profile of 5'8" running back because we think they don't get necessarily the carries. But the last guy that, like, everyone that compares him to anybody always says, oh, Chris Johnson. And I remember Chris Johnson as an NFL running back, it was like an instant 20 to 22 fantasy points per game. And if I can potentially get that on my dynasty roster for the next 2 years, and I only have to spend the 2-6 pick on him, fire that away all day.
I think Achane's a great player. Have him higher than in my rankings than both Tank Bigsby and Tajay Spears at the moment. Not finished on Spears yet, but I hated the Broncos landing spot. Hated that in the mock draft, but talent will win out in the end. For my next pick, it's 207, I think. Okay, I'm gonna take Cedric Tillman. I actually like Cedric Tillman more than Jalin Hyatt, regardless of landing spot. And this mock draft had him to the Bills, and I think he would pair pretty well with Stephon Diggs. I think he could be the wide receiver 2 there. Injury concerns because he's coming off of injury, but I'm not that concerned. I think he's a very solid player. I don't think he's anything special, but I think if he hits his peak, he would be in the right offense to get fantasy production.
I do like some Cedric Tillman. He did have the year before, like, just monster stats compared to Jalin Hyatt. And so, but to follow you up, I will be going Roschon Johnson. I would actually be taking Roschon and Achane ahead of Tajay Spears and Tank Bigsby in my book. The only reason I really love me some Roschon Johnson is he's really good at blocking. And what's going to happen if you're a rookie and you're really good at blocking? You're going to get on the field. And if you get on the field, that's when your fantasy production really starts to shine. And I think we have a little bit, he reminds me a lot of Darius White. I'm trying to remember and he went to the Titans and was just an absolute beast. And so I think he reminds me a little bit of that, where he'll have a goal line role with whichever team drafts him. And in this mock to the Bucks. Yeah. So he's going to snatch away Rachaad White.
That's not bad.
Yeah. He's going to snatch away Rachaad White's goal line work. And so Roschon Johnson here just feels like a great pick. There's some other, of course, good talent on the board. And I feel like we kind of this is where the running back depth happens. So just take all your shots you can to potentially get an RB2.
I like Roschon. I think he's good. Obviously buried behind the depth chart, Texas, but I think he's a good running back. I love this whole tier of running backs. I'm going to take a guy that is talented because I only have 2 slots left. I'm going to take a guy that's talented. I'm going to take Kayshon Boutte. There was not a lot to like about this past season. There's off-the-field concerns, but when I'm playing fantasy football, I'm looking for guys who can be a difference maker. I don't see a lot of guys left who can be a true difference maker. If he gets straightened out and if he returns to what he has been in the past, he's a guy that could hit big. And so at this point, I'm taking a swing. Will it probably bust? Yep, probably. But I'm at least going to take a swing.
You took my pick. That's who I was going to be drafting. As much as
Okay, I don't feel bad now.
As much as we hated what he did, and he's probably going to go, I imagine he goes 3rd or 4th round. Like, dude was supposed to be a 1st-round receiver. Only issues, he had a threesome. He runs really slow. But yet he produced at an SEC level. Like, I'm not that concerned. So with my second to last pick, I will take Jalin Hyatt. I'll bite the bullet. Will he become Tyreek Hill? Will he become Jalen Waddle? Probably not. Can Derek Carr throw it far enough out in front of him for the Saints in this mock? Probably not either. We saw how bad Henry Ruggs was. So, like, why am I taking Jalin Hyatt? I mean, with that game-breaking speed, kind of the same thing with taking Achane. Like, you're looking for, like, fantasy football record breakers that can just destroy the other team when you accidentally throw them in your lineup because you have a ton of injuries. I feel like Jalin Hyatt could definitely do that, and maybe he'll turn into something. But getting that quality of receiver, I feel like I've seen a lot of different dynasty analysts like having Jalin Hyatt like early second to even back into the first. So I think getting him here at the end of the second, I feel pretty good about.
Okay, so for my last pick at the 211, someone in a real draft, I'm not taking it to 211, probably because I can get him later, and I think you know exactly where I'm going. And you got to keep scrolling, I think, because it's Deuce Vaughn. We've talked about him. I love Deuce Vaughn. I don't care. I don't care how small he is. The dude he just runs. I mean, yeah, I don't think, and yeah, his size is a concern, but it's not like, I don't know. Just watch him play, man. He's just so good. And I think that his size, he uses it to his advantage to get through very small holes. And he has good vision to see those holes. And then he can produce in the second level. Yeah, he's going to go down. Yeah, he might get hurt. But he could also have some crazy boom weeks. and I just love watching that guy play.
He's just so good. And like you said, if you're going to take an outlier, I took an outlier shot on Achane. Deuce Vaughn's definitely an outlier, but if someone's going to be the next Darren Sproles out of this group, it might be Deuce Vaughn. Dude's that talented. And for my final pick, I will be taking Zach Evans, taking like my final shot on a running back. I know I went super running back heavy here in the second round, but Zach Evans, same exact thing. He was also mentioned as like the RB3 in this class last summer and just wasn't able to beat out Kendrick Miller at TCU. And then of course went to Ole Miss and really didn't get to beat out Judkins, the sophomore. And so Zach Evans, I think, has a lot of question marks on his profile, but if you actually watch the tape, he has a very good vision, very good power. And I follow a bunch of people on Twitter that are just convinced that Zach Evans is going to be the second round diamond steal that we're all going to regret looking back later on. And if you're getting him at the 212, no reason not to draft some Zach Evans. So I will gladly take Zach Evans with my last pick.
Can't blame you. I mean, he fell, so I can't blame you.
Yeah. So I appreciate everyone for tuning in here to this NFL Superflex rookie mock draft. Thank you, Jordan, for coming on as well. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we will be back with another one here soon. Catch you guys later.